Everybody, sit straight, spine erect, eyes gently closed. Shift your eye gaze to the center of the eyebrows. Jyotishmati, the light of awareness within. Take a deep breath and exhale. One more time. Let's begin today's session with the opening chant. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome to the YE's weekly satsang. This is the first time that we are actually doing the satsang with more people at the YEC Center. So that's a beautiful ritual. Hopefully this becomes a regular standard. And Savita Garu, you should also fly to Texas sometime. So
Sure,
if you're all okay, please open up your videos. So the focus for today's session is what we wanted to kind of recap our vision for YEC. And I know we've started this YEC vision. It's a continuation of the work that we've been doing for the past 3.5 years, but we kind of wrapped everything under the umbrella of YEC vision. So we wanted to kind of quickly refresh the YEC vision and look at some of the activities that you're doing. But most importantly, on my most recent India trip, I've had the opportunity to look at some of the organizations that we've been partnering with, particularly the LeadIndia Foundation, the Superpowers, and of course, the work that we've been doing very much actively with Pure. Now, looking at some of these works, particularly in the context of Superpowers, and most importantly with the LeadIndia Foundation, I believe that we have an opportunity to leverage a significant portion of the work that is being done by LIF, or the LeadIndia Foundation. So today's focus is to kind of share what's kind of in the frame of mind in my point of view, but also kind of get this core team to kind of look at it and then figure out if it makes sense. Then I would want to immediately move forward with some of the activities on how we could combine some of the work that we're doing, leveraging the LIF, and then we can then embellish that further and then continue some of our programs. So that's kind of the primary focus for today. Does anybody have anything else that we want to discuss today? Rajeshi? Yeah.
Once we have finished it, Srini, remember I talked to you about the Kindness Foundation in Chennai. That also, I need only 3-5 minutes and then we can talk about it.
Absolutely. I think we have an opportunity to, and as we're looking at the YEC, the kind of the premise, the purpose, we kind of list some of the partner organizations, and that's where we even look at kindness and perhaps in any other organizations that we need to bring into the umbrella, right?
Yes.
And in fact, some of the discussions that I've had with several of you and other folks, to me, YEC is more of a soch, it's a mindset where we are here to help the youth become more and more entrepreneurial and empowered to design excellence in the world. We are not a corporate. We are not here to compete with any organization. If other people are embracing and pursuing a similar direction, we simply surrender to them. We simply either work for them or we simply add to it. So this is almost like an open source formula, and this is not about an intellectual property. So we are more aligned to the common goal and the purpose, but we are not really worried about our brand and our logo. But the brand and the logo and the vision is important to further our mission, to bring clarity and to focus excellence, but it's not to create a competitive advantage. There is no competition. The competition is there in what we do in the professional world. This is to just more of a fulfill our beings. So with that,
or in other words, we can bring a collaborative advantage to everybody else.
Oh, beautiful word. Competitive advantage to collaborative advantage. Right? That's the reason why Rajesh runs this entire world.
Oh.
Right? With all the words, right? What was the word that you said? Mess, this morning, people only see the mess that Srini does, but folks like Rajesh see the message in the mess, right? The mess to message.
Yes.
Okay, so that's cool. So now let me share my screen. Savita Garu, anything that you want to add, or Ramakanchi?
Nothing from my end at this point. Maybe once I listen to the entire thing, then.
Cool.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, and then let me introduce Alap. You want to quickly come and say hi to everybody?
Hi, everyone. I just learned about the organization very recently. My mom over here, she's been doing yoga quite a bit and has been also putting up videos on YouTube, through SVIASA and others that she's learning. But I was taking her around, and I've been working with another organization on the Irving side, just helping with math and others. So I came to know about this. I thought I'll get involved and see how I can help.
Yeah, all of is very, there's a lot of energy, abundant energy. And the fact that he is from Hyderabad, that adds to the energy, right? And
I am Rajni Cherry. I just undertake yoga sessions, yoga, pranayama, and meditation sessions. And presently, since I'm not working anywhere, I'm already a retired person.
And Rajni's son is Alap ji. I mean, Rajni ji is like so young. But the one thing is, the yoga programs that you do, it has some Pilates, aerobic, and you have a very unique session, right?
Yes. It's like Shitilika and Vyam. That means our aerobics. We call it aerobics. In our yoga language, we call it Shitilika and Vyam. So Shitilika and Vyam also I will be giving. I have taken training from this, our SVIASA. So because of SVIASA also has jogging and everything. Jogging is like that. And even what you call it, jumping jack. That also was there. Then I learned. Then I thought, when that is there, I can add my Shitilika also. Whatever I know. So like that, I have started giving. So I just give in the beginning this for to improve upon your heart rate, and after that yoga, and then after that pranayama, and after that meditation. Like that course again. So it all depends upon. Previously I used to take for 1.5 hours, so everything will be covered. But if the time limit is less, then we can cover gradually. Like
we should have you lead either. Number one, we'll try to join your sessions, or otherwise, we should actually have you host some of the sessions here, right? Namaskaram, Vamshi Garu.
Sir, namaste, sir.
So Vamshi sir is my partner. We've been leading our yoga programs in India. I recently met him, and I cannot believe that we're already far away, at least physically, but not spiritually. Right. So let me begin. Let me share my screen. Vamshikar, anything that you want to add?
Sir.
Anything that you want to say?
No, sir, not no.
Okay, sure. So this is the YEC, the quick overview that we lead with YEC. In the most recent youth entrepreneurship camp that we did, we introduced this concept of the YEC prayers, the key YEC chants. The first two chants that we always lead with, or we want to make sure that every YEC member makes it as their own, is number one is like what we chant, it is the seeking prayer, seeking excellence, excellence in our seeking process. And this is something that we inherit from the traditions, and everybody knows this. The second one that I'm very enthusiastic about is particularly our interpretation, which is essentially the essence of YEC, where we look at Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We literally mark this as entrepreneurs anthem, YEC's entrepreneurship anthem. And in fact, this is what shared in most of my interactions with the kids in India. And what it actually, this comes from our Vedas. What it actually means is the first line, Asatoma Sadgamaya. Asat means is the untruth. What we believe is, from an entrepreneurial mindset, any time when there is an inefficiency or status quo, we believe that that's an untruth. And as an entrepreneur mindset, that is a God-given opportunity to go from that inefficient status quo state to Sadgamaya, to bring it to an excellent state. And in fact, this is the mindset that is being taught in Valley. In fact, every time when we see as an unmet need or an inefficient state, we always in the Valley, entrepreneurs simply cherish on it, which is like, oh, wow, I found this inefficiency. I'm going to make a business out of it. So that's what has been the genesis of our Sanatana Dharma tradition. Anytime where we see an inefficient state or an unfair status quo, we immediately take that as a God-given opportunity, and then we strive to restore to our truthfulness state, which is like well-being, efficient, and such state. Is that an accurate representation, accurate interpretation, Rajeshji?
See, the whole thing is about the way how we look at the world, no? So basically, when we look at the world, and from our vantage point, the entrepreneurs will see things that others don't. Typically, there is an opportunity with something they see. Once they see it, for them, the new thing that they're seeing is the truth, and they have to take people to that truth.
Exactly. Because we fundamentally believe, even if you go back to the Sankhya philosophy, anytime when there is an inefficiency or sorrow and suffering, we believe that that's not truth. And we work hard to get back to our true identity, which is like in an efficient, joyful state. So whenever, and what we see, so how do we see those things? In the Bhagavad Gita, which says like, there are kshetre. The kshetre is like one within your own body and the mind. If you feel like, you're inefficient or we have some kind of a suffering, then we have to work towards bringing that to an excellent state. And then the second kshetra is the world around you. So our true identity for our excellence in our own being and excellence in the world is always as an entrepreneurial mindset, go from inefficient state to excellent state. That's the first one. That's an entrepreneurial mindset. And then the second one is tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Wherever there is tamas, laziness, darkness, and this stuff. And then again, as an entrepreneur, our job is to restore the light. And that's what even Patanjali says. Tatakshiyate prakasha avaranam. Remove the smoke or the covering, the tamas, so that we bring back the radiance. And then the third one is I resonate quite a bit, which is mrityorma amritangamaya. Mrityorma is the finiteness. In the realm of physicality, we have a finite time scale. But by wearing an entrepreneurial mindset, by bringing joy to the people around the world, we suddenly become infinite. The infiniteness doesn't come from adding some extra days to our lifespan. At the end of the day, what will you add? You add some moments. But by wearing an entrepreneurial mindset, by striving to bring happiness and joy for the people around us, and also by being more joyful, that's how even a moment that is spent there, that's how you become infinite. So this is what we believe as a YEC, our anthem as an entrepreneurial mindset, is our primary responsibility is to go from inefficient. Wherever there is an unfair status quo, we strive to bring that to an excellent state. Wherever there is tamas, we basically fight to bring back the radiance. And then that's how we become infinite. That's how we become infinite. So, and then how do we do that? And again, we take the principle of the tools from Gita and yoga and all that stuff, where we first have to be established in inner peace, the harmony. The mind needs to be in the harmonious place. And from that, we become the skilled warriors, the outer dynamism. So the yatra yogeshwara krishno yatra pardo dhanuddaraha. So we have to have inner peace, and then from there you become the skilled warrior or the skilled entrepreneur, and that's how we create excellence in the world. So this is kind of the essence of the YEC. Does it make sense? Or is it like a twisted interpretation?
No, it makes sense, because if we can't win in the inner world, we don't have the tools to win in the outer world anyway.
Correct. So our entire focus of the YEC is all about fostering socially conscious entrepreneurs. Again, representing the essence of the asatoma sadgamaya. And we would have to install this entrepreneurial mindset right from when they are young. But it doesn't mean that we catch them at the young. The thing is, but there is no age limit on the other side. They keep on catching, right? Even when you're 60 or 70 or 80, because the youth is more of a feeling. It's not about whoever wants to be a change agent. They're considered youth, right? It doesn't have any age limit, as an example, right? So, but we can actually catch them very early, like, perhaps at the age of 8 or 12, and then start instilling this entrepreneurial mindset, right? And the reason why we started YEC is again, everybody knows this, right? And number one, particularly in today's world of the social media and the digital explosion and growing consumerism, people are being played into by the sensory exploration, right? People are always looking for more gratification of the senses. So we are becoming the human power is becoming the weakest link caused by the mind and the sensory apparatus. So what we wanted to do at YEC is that, and again, that is an asatoma state. And the way we want to get to Sadgamaya is to restore the human power by teaching everybody the samyama skill, so that people have a control of the mind. And this comes from the Yoga Sutras. Means samyama is a combination of dharana, the focus skills, the concentration, dhyana, which is the meditation, and samadhi, so that people get engrossed in whatever they do. Whenever you apply these three skills, whatever you want to accomplish, that ultimately becomes an excellence. In other words, that's the secret to achieving excellence in whatever we do. So the first and foremost thing that what we want to do at YEC is to build that inner peace, build this samyama skill, so that people will have a greater focus and concentration, meditative mind, and also the equilibrium mind. So with that capability, they can be the best entrepreneurs, and they have the capability to go achieve whatever they want. And it is not just is based on the scriptures. This is something that many of us have experienced in whatever we do. Like, for example, I know Rajesh ji, every day in the morning, he's in that samyama state, and there is a new napkin side that gets revealed to him. And this capability can be cultivated can be cultivated, right? It's not just a gift. It is something that can be cultivated. So that's the number one. Number two is, particularly in today's world, again, with the advantage of technology and more advantages for the people who have access to resources and more money, there is more and more growing inequality and divisiveness. So with that, the harmony in the world is getting more and more disturbed. So for that, we need those samyama skilled entrepreneurs, but with a socially conscious, with an inclusive mindset. People who are willing to create more inclusive well-being outcomes for a majority of the section of the people, not only for the few. So for that, we need to train people on sharing and oneness and some of the principles of Advaita. So the socially conscious entrepreneurship is the second skill that we are focused on at YEC. And then the third one that we added after some discussion with Rajesh ji and Ramakantji and some of us is that there are several people, particularly in today's in contemporary times, many people are taking up to the spiritual path, and again with the right intention of they want to create inner peace within themselves and in the world around them. But unfortunately, there are so many fragmented tools, fragmented schools, fragmented learnings, and everybody saying that only my path is better, this path is not good. And some people say it's like Eastern versus Western to something else. So one of the ambitious goals that we want to tackle on as a bonus is to seamlessly stitch together these many different islands of knowledge and the things, between Eastern and the Western, And even within the Eastern, many schools of yoga, many schools of spirituality, how do we seamlessly stitch together so that the seekers will have the freedom and the joy of exploring all these different islands of knowledge, and then benefit from all the different tools that are out there. I know many of us are already doing it. We subscribe to, whether it's Mind Valley, whether it is Carol Dweck's or the flow theory, Yoga Sutras, Gitas, Advaita, all these things. But the work that we are doing to stitch together something that YEC can provide a more of a canonical and universal curriculum, so that people can seamlessly stitch together at many of these islands. But the third one is more of how we do the things, and it is hopefully a byproduct, not the primary goal. But the first two are the most important things. Does this make sense? Why we started YEC? To build the samyama skill and then socially conscious entrepreneurs?
Yes.
Absolutely, Srini. The way I'm explaining to other people is the link between 1 and 2 is extremely clear. It's also very tight. Sometimes it may come across as a loosely connected thing, but it's a very tightly connected thing. Why? Because unless we are very comfortable in our own skin, we'll not be able to welcome other people. So that's the first step, to be comfortable in our own skin. The first one will prepare them to be comfortable in their own skin. And next, go to the oneness. When they see oneness, they see themselves in everyone. And when they have that, we go to the number 3, which is basically, if we see, it's just not inclusivity in terms of people, we see inclusivity in terms of programs, which is, we are all one. Ultimately, we want to elevate ourselves. So we're using our collaborative advantage and amplification. We can lift everyone. Not worried about, oh, we need to have our name. We just, if there's a good thing, we'll just amplify it.
Wow, the way you said it, one with yourself, one with people around, and one with the universal knowledge.
So we have the 6th chapter, 6th shloka, Udhared Atmanatmana, Natmanam Sadayek, Atmaivahi Atmano Bandhu, Atmaiva Ripuratmanam. So basically, you are the only one who can lift yourself up, or you can become a ripu, your mind can become an enemy. And once you are actually aligned, then I think Rajeshji's comments follow. Thank you.
I mean, so beautiful said, Ramakanji. And you remember when we were talking about the Bhagavad Gita, there is another shloka, Abhyuddhana Madharmasya Tadatmanam Srijamyaham. So which is like, whenever there is an inefficient state, the first thing is Tadatmanam is not a Shankar Chakra. That's not externally some idol or something. Tadatmanam is like you yourself, the one that is in the harmonious you, the one that you will essentially take charge to create the oneness around, right? So that's what Bhagavad Gita's call also is like. Tadatmanam is like, I, and like what Ramakanji said, which is like, I is me. We can actually do this. Savita Garu, you're trying to say something? Sorry.
Sorry, no, I was not saying anything.
I love the metaphor that, see, Rajesh, that's your gift. It just comes to you. The 3 circles of oneness, right? Start at the center, the one with the people, and then the one with the knowledge. It's beautiful. Okay, how do we do this? So we basically wanted to bring together, the secret for the YEC is we want to bring together 3 superpowers, right? The 3 skills. One is the technology and the entrepreneurship, which is what is being taught in the Western world, or the traditional entrepreneurial mindset. But that entrepreneurial mindset needs to be based on the yogic powers of the yama, niyama, and samyama. Yama is how do you conduct towards others. Niyama is how do you conduct well within yourself, and samyama is the harmonious mind. These 3 yogic powers need to be cultivated in every youth entrepreneur, along with the traditional, the technology and the entrepreneurial mindset. And then the third one is the sharing, which is that oneness. Now, whatever the powers that you have, whether it's an entrepreneurial mindset, the yogic powers, they're only meaningful when they are in the service of the others to create a more meaningful society. Otherwise, you use them to just make yourself, better citizen, it's a gross wastage of all the powers that are being bestowed upon, all the divine powers that are being given to you. If you only use it to serve yourself or your immediate family or the friends, it means, you significantly undervalued the skills that are being bestowed upon to you. So that it is almost like a triad. The triad of the skills is technology, entrepreneurial skills, the yogic powers, and these two combine to serve the community around. The sharing. Does it make sense? The unique combination of these three superpowers?
Yeah, absolutely.
It does. It does.
Right. So then the thing that we wanted to talk about, and Rajesh, which is like, number one, while we are cultivating this, we want to make this as a completely open platform. Anybody, any excellence provider can seamlessly participate in it. Anybody can seamlessly consume whatever are the programs that we can do. It's almost like a Uber, like a metaphor, like two-sided marketplace. Anybody can seamlessly participate, and we become a completely open platform. Anybody can be a provider, anybody can be a seeker. And we also want to make these YEC offerings available across all the modalities, so people can consume it physically, virtually, or on the wheels, like the remote vans that we just procured, so that we can go to remote places where there is no internet or the physical connectivity. And then we've been partnering with many organizations, like Pure Online has been the most dominant partner for over 3.5 years. ACOM USA is another organization that focuses on healthy children. They're very active in Tamil Nadu. And then LeadIndia Foundation is something that Ramakanji has been with them for what, close to 28 years, and we're just getting started with a significant partnership. And I'll share with you some of them. And then the Sri Parivar is something that our Vamshi sir, Bapuji, they have been trained under Sri Parivar, and they're more like the full Samyama, like a program that they offer. Samyama, Yama, and Niyama offer to many programs. So we've been partnering with many such organizations, and we will continue to add more and more partner organizations in this, like Vyasa and so on and so forth. So Rajesh, you want to say quickly about the kindness program?
Yes, there is the Kindness Foundation is run by my friend Mahima Poddar, and they've been doing, there are many programs, but one program that I really like is called Kindness Week. They do it, this is the 4th year they're doing it in Chennai. And the way people, kindness is taught in moral science classes and all, but then it's not put into practice. Everybody knows there are many things everybody knows, they don't practice it. So these people said, why don't we create experiences for people? Like, for example, there may be a set of paraplegics. They'll take them to some place like a circus or something. And then there are people who are taking them there. Like there is they brought a bunch of sweepers, street sweepers, and then they had a chai and chat kind of session. And the first year was very complicated. People would say they're like not inclusive. They said, we are here, they are there kind of thing. By the end of the program, the bigger transformation happened with the people who were helping these things than the people themselves who were the recipients. And then completely it changed in the second year. They were oversubscribed because people say, what happened? Sometimes the person says, I'll give food for one day. They will serve them one day. And all these people who come and have the food, the children of the owner came and served. And until that time, they really didn't take everything for granted in their home. I think it's all there. When they have a chat with these people, then they realize that how much they should be grateful for. So while it starts as a kindness week, it became a window to the world of what everybody should be grateful for. So that's the program I thought we can partner with and bring it, because they are Chennai focused. And with our collective network, we can bring it to the Bay Area, bring it to Dallas, everywhere.
And even within India, from Chennai to Bangalore or north, wherever in Andhra Pradesh. I think the point that you talked about is something that I've experienced myself. I mean, that's how even the Pure Online organization has been very successful. There's about 1,600 youth volunteers right now, and all of them, within US, where most of them always have been in the scarcity mode, that we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this. And suddenly once they start serving or being aware of the people on the other side, it gave more to the people here, the people, so-called people who have, they gain the more than the people that have not. So that's why we say in the sharing world, we don't know who benefits more.
Exactly.
The give and take, right? You know, who gives is a big question, or who benefits more is a bigger question, right? So
once they realize that the give and take is actually like give and grow, then they realize that by giving they're growing. So
actually, you should completely change the vocabulary of English. Right?
See,
in the new thing,
people don't realize that by giving, they're giving something. But what is happening is the opportunity to give itself is sacred, because then they will use what it's in the head. It's of no value anyway. Only when you give, it gets real value. So any opportunity to give should be looked at with reverence, because this is an opportunity to bring value. Otherwise, keeping it here, what will we do? Nothing.
Actually, this is a beautiful thing. Sometimes I use this analogy. You know, particularly people who have certain skills or knowledge or in the mind or whatever they have, they only gain it because they've done some abhyasa, they put some effort.
Yes.
So then that's when the divine blesses them with this particular knowledge and skill. It's not your own making. It's because, you know, the divine chooses you as a vessel to do its work. But several of them, once the skill is there, they keep it themselves, like they put the genie in a bottle.
Correct.
And the divine gets stuck.
Yes.
And then divine will be wondering, why did I choose this costume?
100%.
Right? So we just need to unleash all these genies that are packed in the bottles. Right? So that's why sharing is actually needs to be learning and sharing are the two key muscles for life. You always have to learn new skills. And then anything that you learn, you have to share it. Only then it's of some value.
Correct.
Right? And then when Rajesh says it, it's a room. When Srini says it, nobody.
My thinking, Srini, is that without being in flow, there is no way to flourish. The flow is a prerequisite to flourish.
You know, isn't this true? Like the knowledge is like a river. If it gets stuck, it's stale.
Yes.
It has to flow like a river. Right? Oh, that's cool. I believe both knowledge and money, apparently, they always have to be in the flow.
Correct.
You cannot put them in a bank. It depreciates. Right? Okay, so let's continue. And then I want to get to this, the most important thing. So the kindness, absolutely, we need to do this. Now let me finish quickly. So what we have done here is to do this, we introduced this new framework called Insights to Outcomes. So essentially, YEC is very much focused on growing three muscles. One is think muscle, and Rajesh calls this as see more. How do you see more? And then the second one is execution muscle, which is like do more. Whatever you're doing, how can you amplify that muscle? How can you do more with whatever the resources that you have? And then the third one is a character muscle or the self muscle, which is more like a be more, because right now we are losing our own being. We are not, in the being state, so we can be more. So the think muscle, execution muscle, and the character muscle. So usually in the entrepreneurial mindset, we are taught on the think muscle and the execution muscle. And that's how all these startups, get built, and then they build value. But only when these two muscles are established in a good character mindset, where you are, number one, is established in the harmony and the oneness within, and the oneness, with the people around, that's when we become a complete being. That's when we become a complete being. So that's the reason why YEC is focused on simultaneously growing these three muscles together. In fact, first build the right character foundation, and then teach the think and execution muscle. And the think muscle is about, teaching them from going from sight to insight to vision and to create better outcomes. And then once you design what that efficient state, asatoma, sadgamaya, Then we teach them on what is the right execution plan, what's the plan, what is the abhyasa, the actions that you need to do, like a business plan, and then how do you measure your progress is the execution muscle. And then the character muscle is all the yama, niyama, samyama skills. And then we're offering a bunch of classes like in the entrepreneurship technology series, yoga foundations and philosophy, chanting, and like I said, it's a two-sided marketplace. Anybody should be able to participate it, whether it's an individual or an organization, they can seamlessly participate. Like for example, in a couple weeks, one of the organizations that we recently met, it's called One Planet, One Life, One Earth, where they focus on planting trees. They wanted to actually come and plant their trees at the YEC Center in Dallas. So that's something that's going to happen in the next several weeks. So similarly, any initiative that's focused on creating a better being and better world can seamlessly participate through YEC and vice versa. The site versus insight, I think we briefly covered, right? Most of the time, we only look at the periphery, like a banana. We see it at the outer and we say that that's a yellow fruit and this stuff. But insight is to be able to see more, look beyond the periphery, to go look into the nutrition. What is the nutritional value? And then convert it to an outcomes. How can this particular object go from, how can it create better outcomes? So to be able to cultivate this level of vision to where people are not just looking at the pixels that are being transmitted at the periphery, but going deeper into what is the situation, why is it like this, and from here, how do I go to a better outcome, and how can it create a better value for the kshetra within the being and also the outer world, is what we teach in the think muscle. So essentially, the questions that we allow people to ask is, whenever they are in a context, the kshetra within their body or around them, like let's say there is pollution or there is not enough resources, and any one of them, people should be able to go look at what is the unfair status quo, go deeper, get the insights, and then from there they can design what excellence outcomes that I could design to go from that unfair status quo. And then immediately we come with what is the business plan or what is the action plan that I need to take to support these outcomes. And then we also, extremely important, how do I, and then this one, we try to do this across 4 worlds: the personal world, the professional world, and the community. Okay, so what we wanted to do is we want to teach everybody at the YEC so that they can be the good quarterbacks of their own world. And again, their world is not just about their own personal world, but people need to be able to connect to is like their well-being is very much tied to how well they are conducting themselves, how well their family functions, how well their school or the work functions, and then how well the bigger community works around them. So only when there is harmony in the 4 spheres of world around them, that's when we are in the Sadgamaya state, we are on the excellent stage. And of course, there could be more tiers of the world, but ultimately making that connection that one's well-being is not just your individual well-being, it's deeply intertwined with the well-being across all the worlds that you intersect with. And then allowing somebody to be a quarterback. You become the driver of designing excellence in your own world. So that's the binding agent that we want to create. But unfortunately, today that binding agent is not there. So this is the framework that we are trying to do. And then in this context, what was the biggest revelation for me in this particular trip, the 10-day trip that I made, an ad hoc trip, it's quite a revelation for me. One is I got to spend time with Sadananda Bapuji and Vamshi sir and looking at their entire organization of the Sri Parivar and the work that they are doing, incorporating the yoga knowledge and bhakti knowledge and Advaita and meditation and all that stuff to create a human transformation. And Vamshi sir, if you're there, can you talk a little bit about the size of the organization, how many people went through your program, the 21-day program, or Bapuji?
If you muted him, you might have done it.
Oh, I see. So,
హలో సార్
definitely.
సార్ నేను బస్ లో ఉన్నా సార్, సిగ్నల్ కరెక్ట్ లేదు. 21 days ప్రోగ్రామ్ వచ్చేసి చాలా గ్రూప్స్ చేసాం సార్.
So, okay, let me share a few statistics. I think they are quite a big an organization with at least about 50,000 people, and they have. Go ahead. Okay, so let me continue. So it's a very big organization, deeply entrenched within all of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, and I really love the way how they are actually making it available to all the people, particularly the underprivileged in the villages and the rural towns and so on and so forth. So the success stories are humongous, and then they have a facility. So we're going to continue to deeply partner with them and leverage this as a network.
This is LeadIndia?
No, this is Shri Parivar, right? So let me shift gears and then talk about, Shri Parivar. It's actually the Shri Parivar founder is a contemporary of Sadhguru and Sri Ravi Shankar.
Oh.
And they all learned from the same master. And then he used all that thing to design a program that creates a human transformation for the people in the underprivileged. I think they only paid 2,000 rupees for the 21-day program. That includes food and lodging, and for the last 3 days. And that's how they were able to scale. And very committed volunteers and very sincere, like, Sadanandam, Bapuji and Vamshi sir, and highest excellence. Right? In Andhra Pradesh, in actually in my hometown, actually in Warangal. So we are going to continue to. I've been partnering with them for conducting our yoga programs in India for the past 3 years, but I was never introduced to the full organization. Only this time I went and met with the Guruji and the rest of the trustee team, and we are actually planning to do a deep partnership. Right, that's the number one. And in fact, we're going to create a YEC center within their ashram. So that's the first thing that we're doing. The next one is the LeadIndia Foundation, and this is probably the most profound one. And this is an institution. Ramakantji, do you want to say anything about LeadIndia Foundation, because you are the main crux of this?
Yeah. Actually, I was also focusing with some domestic work. I'm tied up, so I was not focusing much. Can you fill me in back on that? Sorry, any specifics?
No,
you go with the flow. I think you please go ahead with the flow.
Yeah.
I can add at the last. I mean, any specific things you want me to add? Then
perfect.
First about Acharya and then about LeadIndia. I can talk at the last probably. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I was introduced to the founder and the chairman of LeadIndia Foundation, Dr. Sudarshan Acharya, by Ramakantji about 6 months ago. And since then, we've connected so well. And but most importantly, on Friday, which was yesterday, I was able to witness firsthand of the program's impact. And particularly, this was a program, the 3-day program that was introduced to all the freshmen that goes to this engineering college called Swadesh Engineering College. In fact, they made it a rule that every freshman batch, they would have to first attend this 3-day transformation program. Only then they can actually be fully enrolled into their engineering program. And then when I started looking into the dimensions of the program and the canvas, what it's trying to do is it's called Aap Badhao and Desh Badhao. So linking each individual empowerment directly to the overall nation's empowerment, right? Your individual growth is directly linked to the nation's growth. Like what Rajesh said, if you are not in harmony with yourself, it's very difficult for you to go create harmony in the world or in your nation. So this program is designed as a collaboration between the work that Acharya ji has done for over 35 years. That is his PhD on human values and human transformation. And that work was married with Abdul Kalam's vision for the nation's growth, which he wrote I think a 10-point plan and a program. Then Dr. Kalam mentored Acharya, and both of them partnered together in creating this framework called the Acharya Kalam human and nation transformation model. And when I started looking at the details of the program, I found a lot of similarities to the YEC vision. First of all, calling it vision is a grandiose thing. What we have been contemplating about the purpose for YEC. And then it's like, whatever we want to do, it's already there. The framework is already there. Then being the chore that I am, being the stealer that I am, then I was like, why can't we completely leverage that framework? And then we can simply embellish the areas that we needed to do, particularly, focusing on the entrepreneurial mindset and some of the other areas that we have excellence for. So even though the canvas for this program is strictly limited to, or the name says it's LeadIndia Foundation, but all the details of the program are very much universal. In fact, my interpretation of that is it's like LeadI Foundation, where the I essentially being from the individual being to become it. It means the divine, where your I is in the well-being of the people around you. And by being that, you become the infinite, like the entrepreneurial anthem. And that's the whole canvas for this is everybody can realize the true identity, the infinite identity that they are, which is the Aham Brahmasmi. So the LeadIndia Foundation program is essentially goes back to the 10 kind of an essence, but it has been systemically designed. And they have an organization of the trainers and the train the trainer model and a website. And so far they've trained about 18 lakh students. And in the last 5 years, I think they hit a little bit of a down period because of some changes that were happening. But since last year, again, they're trying to be super active. And here is some of the things that I pulled from their website, and all of you can go to a live thing. But again, as I said, this is Acharya Kalam's human transformation model that's directly mapped to a nation's growth. And the way when I looked at the statistics of the India, what was inspiring to me is they mapped this program as equivalent, or at least Dr. Kalam used to refer this as this is the second movement, nationwide movement, similar to Quit India. The first Quit India movement galvanized the entire nation to rid of the slavery from the British. But over this last 70 years of independence, and again, we influenced by the Western thought and the new schools, the new type of an education, and with growing corruption and the addiction to more and more sensory gratification, we believe that the country, India, and also perhaps in more countries worldwide, there is more slavery that we invited upon, that we encumbered upon ourselves. So this is the second nationwide movement, similar to the same impact, or perhaps even the greater impact, that we all need to act upon. And that's the whole genesis of this, which is the LeadIndia movement now is the same impact as the Quit India. The one is an external slavery. This one is our self-imposed slavery. So I really was profoundly influenced by the thought and the level of clarity and the systemized work that was done. And at least at this time, I feel like we should leverage as much as is possible. Ramakanji, why don't you add few things from your side before I go into
Sure. Yeah, I could. I am now able to focus. So this, there is a video that in fact Kalamji actually talks about it, that this is the second national movement after, so Quit India being one, and this and Kalamji being a scientist on one side, all the multifaceted stuff, was very careful with his words throughout his life. So he made sure on the measuring stuff with the our IOAM model, that we have, Kalamji made sure that he measured and thoroughly all his team, in fact, his IAS folks, the entire team, he sent multiple times and made sure this is the thing that he would endorse and so on. And in fact, they finally merged his own Lead India non-profit that he has to this group as well. But so that's about the Lead India, and my connection has been like last 30 years. I have been with Lead India and Acharya personally, and all the transformation today that I see in my life, I would majorly accredit to Acharya. And we do have our own USA alumni non-profit group. Also, we have and all that. We'll discuss more about them. We'll introduce them here and all that stuff.
Perfect.
Any other
perfect.
specifics? That's all right.
So we'll actually get to it and then we'll add to it. So
absolutely. Please go ahead.
When I looked at the ABD program, it's called Aap Badhao, Desh Badhao. So it's just like, directly, Kshetre Kshetre. First, you establish harmony with yourself, transform yourself to transform the nation. So that the key components of this is the first 4 is about setting the stage, the context about the India or historical context. How did we get to?
So it is the spelling is a little bit weird. So it is actually Aap Badho, right? Aap Badho, and then Desh ko Badhao.
Desh ko Badhao.
Please go.
Yeah.
Please go.
Yeah. Perfect. ABDB. Thank you. So the way the first 4 aspects of this program is about setting the stage, understanding the need for the moment, the context, setting the context about our rich heritage. In fact, if you go through, and I'm getting all the curriculum content so that all of us can also go through the full program, but it literally goes in the richness of the Indian thought or the Sanatana Dharma, where we are the inclusive or the universal thought, where we're always about Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. We're always talking about wishing well for everybody. And that's how the thought was always been, we always measured our well-being in the well-being of the people around. And we always welcomed everybody and we shared openly. There's never an intellectual property. And all our Mahavakyas always talked about the oneness, regardless of who you are, what you're born into, where you're from. And it's that richness of the thought. Somehow over the years, it's been distorted. It's been capitalized, and then now that corruption is set in the country itself. So, and again, the goal of this is setting the stage so that we have an opportunity to trace back to our roots, and then there is a systemic 8 dimensions of growth that they would focus on. One is the leadership, technology, and entrepreneurship stuff, and then physical development, the mental development, which is the ability to concentrate and build the samyama skills, and then the career development, where it's all about the execution skills, setting up the SMARTY goals, like the SMART goals, methodology, and then the seeker, the inquiring and growth mindset to be able to pursue excellence in whatever the professional fields that they have. There are about 5 W's, because our Sanatana Dharma is always about an inquiring mindset. It was not about simply follower mindset. It's about the why, when, where, who, the 5 W's, and then 1 how. It's that building that inquiring and growth mindset. And then the social development, which is like our culture, honoring our culture and the traditions. And then the human values for human excellence. This directly maps to the Yama and Niyamas, like Satya and all those things. And then the spiritual development, where it's about seeing the oneness. So all these 8 dimensions, in fact, now I was mapping it to the Ashtalakshmi, the 8 dimensions of wealth and the transformation that one could aspire for. And then the last 2 are more about building a massive nationwide network so that we can create peer groups where we are supporting each other. So this is the overall comprehensive program, and everything has a curriculum. It's built with simple words. There is no scriptures that are being written. So what Acharya Garu has done is he synthesized all the summary of his is understanding of the Vedas and Sanatana Dharma and Yoga Sutras and the Gita. And then he converted all that into easily digestible, common colloquial words, so that every student, particularly in the villages, can easily adapt and make this part of their daily life. I mean, I thought that was one of the brilliant strokes that he has done. Then what I was doing is, while I was reading it, I was reverse mapping it. Every one of them I was mapping to was like, oh, this is Yoga Sutra, this is the Gita, this is Advaita. I was doing a reverse decoding. And then I realized that YEC, we are going from the other side. We are teaching Yoga Sutras, and then we are basically giving that as a homework. Whereas Acharya started the other end, making it like, here's the program. And then if you want, you can actually bring it connected back to the scriptures, but there is no need to. There is no need to. Ramakanji, did I say it right? Is my understanding correct?
Perfect. Totally, because the penetration, the simplicity, the practical applicability, and with the science and the spirituality, the modern and the old, he made just everything is totally ready there. Just need to consume, that's all.
Right. And then this also directly maps to Abdul Kalam's 10-point oath, where in fact, everybody that goes through a program, they will have to do 2 oaths, and one of them is directly maps to Kalam's 10-point oath, where everybody needs to contribute to at least 10 other people and help them in their growth, like teach them how to read and write, and people, and then plant some trees. So there is like some directly tangible, easy to do things that everybody has to commit to as part of this program. So when I looked at all these things, what I felt was we can directly map our IOM framework to the 8 dimensions of the growth that people can have. The global skills, our IOM framework can map to the leadership, technology, physical development, yoga, fitness, and self-defense, mental development, career development, and inquiry mindset, and so on and so forth. So there are some gaps that they do not have. Like, for example, on the leadership and the technology and entrepreneurship, it talks about we need to do it, but there is not really a full embellishment on how to train the entrepreneurial mindset. In the yoga and fitness, they have certain things, but we can add some dimensions of it. In the meditation, again, there are some bhajans and some of the stuff. We can look at what they already have and we can embellish this. And then the execution skills, that we as entrepreneurs, we can bring in, like, with Kiruba and Naveen and all of us, we can add some of those things. And in the scientific temper, and this is what I've been telling lot of kids, unless India builds mastery in some of the advanced technologies like AI and AR and other stuff, we could go back in time, just like how we were taken advantage by the British because of their technology prowess. So we should not make that happen again. So again, making this part of the overall foundation program and teaching computer literacy and advanced technology and the digital literacy is something that we can add. So, and again, there is so many things that we can do complementary add-ons, but I felt like, we can simply leverage the framework, the 8 dimensions, and then we can add more petals to it or embellish more petals to it. And if we need to create more petals, we will do it. So this is the point of view that I want to share with you. And if you guys agree with it, then we can simply move towards action, getting their program, and then, figuring out how we can create this as a YEC plus LIF, or the names don't matter. And
I not only agree, I'm super excited about it, Srini. So,
and there is a facility right next to Hyderabad airport. I mean, it's a little bit of an older building, in which we're actually trying to put some funds to restore it, and we can even do a YEC center there, use our own entrepreneurial workshops, whatever we want to do it, and again using the same modalities, physical, virtual, and the wheels. So that way we will suddenly have a YEC center in Warangal at the Sri Parivar. We'll have one in LeadIndia Foundation. So we start, and then with all our resources here, what I realized, and Ramakanji, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there are so many committed volunteers and the network that LIF already has in India. What they are lacking is this modern entrepreneurial mindset and the execution capabilities that we have, like, you know, folks like Rajesh and Naveen and Kiruba and you know, other skills that we have here. So if we unite the forces, then I think, you know, we can amplify this mission in a significant way.
So currently, LIF in India, they are doing programs for somewhere, I think it was like 10 to 18-year-old kids. So it's a very heavy education related as well as personality development.
The youth, exactly. The youth catch them early and then build this individual transformation, the human empowerment. And then, but many of them, they also go conduct these programs to some of these other working people and so on and so forth. But the primary focus has been on the youth. In the schools and engineering colleges, in the schools and colleges.
Okay. And most of us being over here, besides helping them financially, which is what I think that's the bare minimum we can do. But besides that, are there any opportunities where we can, which is what I was trying to do over here also, is like virtual training.
Exactly.
Virtual education. But do they have the infrastructure over there?
We are actually setting it up. So the thing is, in fact, no. So the whole thing is, they already, in fact, and I'm working on actually setting up the full internet facility in the LeadIndia Foundation. So the goal is for us not to just to be the financial providers, but we become the trainers. We become the designers, and we have other programs, right? You know, they have this basic program of 21 things, but they don't have a lot of details of what is an entrepreneurial mindset, what is the technology mindset, right? We can actually be the excellence providers, both by the content or resources, or be the trainer also.
Be the trainers, right? Okay.
Right. And my goal is that if we can empower youth in India to be the change agents, right? And that's what I was discussing with Acharya. I think they're telling this, but I don't think people have that sight to insight to vision. Most people in the youth, they go through the program, but they don't have the question of why are the buses like this? Why are the roads unclean? Why are the hygiene not clean? We all begin to accept that as the status quo. That's how the world ought to be. But I think, you know, once people start questioning this, is like, why is this asatoma is an untruth? Right? This lack of hygiene is an untruth. Then what can I do? Right? So we need to connect every youth at that level of entrepreneurial mindset to see more, not just accept, because everybody is accepting how the way things are in India. The roads and the cleanliness, the lack of food, and we are becoming numb and numb and numb. So we just have to, and the reason why I was telling Acharya Garu yesterday, in the reason why US and some of the other developing nations, why they are progressing well is they basically always train people to go look for those unmet needs. The entrepreneurial mindset, like, you know, when I go to a VC, the first question that is like, what is the unique problem that you spotted? We are training people to go look for problems. That's how we make money. In India, we basically is like, you know, we avoid problems. If there is a problem, we try to duck around. We need to actually allow people to see problems, but first we need to allow people to spot problems. We need to value them, right? You know, if somebody says, why is it like this? You know, we need to actually give them a medal. But then the second aspect of that is that why should not lead into a complaint mode. Those few people that actually spot the problem, they basically is like, the government is like this, this is like this, that is like this. But I think we need to go from why, and then next is like, how can I profit from this?
Try to solve the problem.
Right? That's the true entrepreneurial mindset. Right? So that's what we want to add to this LIF, so that everybody becomes a change agent. They should start looking at, in fact, you know, one of the things that I was planning on adding, or I suggested to Acharya ji, is after the program, everybody needs to look for one problem in their personal world, in their family world, in their state world that they would want to spot, and then create a plan on what they could potentially do about it. Rajesh, you're on mute. Sorry.
No, Savita has raised her hand. She wants to say something.
Oh, sorry. I did not see the screen. My bad. Go ahead, Savita Garu.
It's okay. I mean, once you finish.
I'm done. I was just rambling. Sorry.
Okay. I mean, respecting the time, it's 9:42 for us. Just want to be short, keep it short. Because it's open to such a wide spectrum of people, like from young age to 100, whatever, however long they are living, right? So we are such an inclusive community. Somebody like me, or sorry, I forgot your name, sitting behind you, her name.
Alap.
No, not Alap's mom.
Rajni Garu.
Rajni Garu. Yeah. So how would Rajni Garu and myself, when we enroll, what are we looking for here? Somebody who's looking for, as an entrepreneur, all the 8 dimensions, right? Yoga, I understand she says she's retired. I don't think women especially never retire. But I'm saying what am I getting? So in order to be peace within myself, like, I have been an entrepreneur in my own life, like, from where, I need to make time for yoga. I need to finish these things. So how am I going to manage that? So so many areas. So basically you're saying find inner peace, work on yourself first, and then you go out. That can be inner self, can be your environment, your own environment, because that's also feeds into your inner self. And also your own, like she has to feed the family. She has to take care of the family. And then when you create that system, an entrepreneurial system, and see where the deficiencies are there, and then create an efficiency, then she has the power to go and do more outside. But when there is a chaos in the house, I don't think she wants to go out, or myself wants to go out and share. Sharing, I don't think anybody wants to keep it for themselves. It's just the how big, what all the Kurukshetras they want to fight is the question. So today I want to fix what's broken in front of me today, right? So I feel because youth, somebody certain age, after time, we don't recognize ourselves as youth as much as you might say, oh, youth. But I think when we still talk about we'll still think about youngsters, right? So when Rajni Garu or I myself, when I registered to this course or whatever the YEC is going to be offering, with the 8 dimensions, entrepreneurship, leadership, technology, I would like to use technology in my day-to-day life, which makes my life easy, where I can teach somebody. My own parents struggle with technology, and I can tell them, oh, use this, use that, but still they struggle, and that makes their life miserable. Like, miserable in the sense, like it makes it difficult for them. Meditation, I can meditate only when my entrepreneurship, leadership, everything, technology is set in a proper place. Then everything flows. You know what I mean? And exercise, time for my exercise. Basically, there is a fight for creating time, right? From morning to evening, you are not a fight. Like, you're saying, what's my trade-off I'm doing? So somebody like Rajini ji, sorry, I mean, she can speak too. So like, because it's open for such a broad spectrum, right? Like, from a 10-year-old to 100-year-old. What is a 100-year-old is getting? If I don't know what I'm getting, what am I going to go and do outside, right? So, I mean, not like how am I going to participate here? Tell me, like, I mean, how?
Yeah, this is a beautiful question. Actually,
I don't know if I maybe too long of a question.
No, you made a lot of sense. There are 2 ways that I actually would respond to this. One is depending upon what life stage that we are situated in, like, as a 10-year-old versus 60-year-old versus 100-year-old, right? The IOM framework maps it to define your world that is suitable to you. Like, as an example, insights, like, as an example, right? If you're 60-year-old, you are looking for, like, let's say the 4 worlds. what is my personal well-being or where I'm inefficient. Like, if somebody is like unhealthy, like, let's say I'm, diabetes, or I'm like, having this stuff, that's an inefficient state that's personal to you. Whereas when I'm like a 10-year-old, I might be looking for like, how do I get into a better maths, grade, or, better this stuff. So the contextualization is everybody to be able to see more within their world where they are situated. That's the insight. To then you go map it to what is the better outcome for you based on where you are in the world. Right? A 90-year-old could be
but
like,
sometimes you don't even know your inefficiencies. As you said, once teach us first to be an entrepreneur. Let's start with small thing. Teach us to be an entrepreneur first. Entrepreneur in our everyday household, everyday living, teach us there. Then, as you said, I can find out my problems.
Correct.
Then I will say, oh, there is an issue here. I need to fix this. Then teach me technology to fix that. Then teach me yoga and meditation, not to be a reactive, but actually show some key actions. So
like a conscious action.
Be more conscious actions. So without even not knowing my problems and just heading is only entrepreneurship. I didn't even entrepreneurship. I was thinking like a business or something. Like only when you explained entrepreneurship, from moving from inefficiency to efficiency, that makes more sense. So I think because the spectrum is so broad, from a 10-year-old to 100-year-old, there should be some amount of relatability, or break it down in a way that
exactly. I think this is a inefficiency. So the second part of the question that you said, answer, just like the Ashtanga yoga, this is not a sequential model. In other words, first you establish inner peace and then go to the outer dynamism. This is not. All these 8 dimensions are grown simultaneously, just like the limbs grow together. It's not a sequential thing. Like, that's why Patanjali also said this as the Ashtanga yoga, the limbs. It's not like first I grow my legs, and then after that I put a stomach, and then I put a nose, and then this stuff, right? It's not a sequential thing. So simultaneously, we're actually teaching about the sight to insight, and then the IOM, which is an entrepreneurial, the think muscle. And then, then we also teach, the yoga meditation, as in the same class. So that is actually feeding into the other stuff too. So in other words, this is a synchronous development, but this is not a stage-wise development. Am I making sense? So sharing, sorry, go ahead.
There's also one thing I realized as you were speaking, that one of the things that you are looking for is you need more time. That could be a module there. First is, how do we find more time? So the moment you have more time, you see more possibilities because you have time now.
Savita Garu has some beautiful techniques on the time management, right? No, but I think we'll patent it and we'll include that in the courses. But the thing is, the other thing that you also said, literally, this is literally the execution skills, time management, thought leadership, and abhyasa. And in fact, one of the skills that you do is, how do you build the second brain? How do you build the second brain? In fact, most people are using their brain to do bookkeeping and keeping track. It's like, that's where use a tool like Asana, use a tool like calendar, use a tool this stuff, so that use your brain for the most creative stuff, not as a ledger. Today, most of us use this for ledger management. And there are so many free tools. And the thing is, the interesting thing here is, these free tools are offered for free. And the people that are benefiting from this are digitally capable people. So this further extending the gap that we have between the digital haves and digital not. Even though like the Khan Academy, Asana, all these tools are built in the cloud for free, the only people that are actually benefiting from a second brain, third brain, and the fourth brain are the people who are already advanced. So we need to change this thing. We need to introduce these tools and forcefully or whatever, make them part of everybody's day-to-day life.
By simultaneously building both the legs, what happens is, over time, the enrollment will fall, because I feel every minute, if they don't see something relating to themselves, first, then the enrollment will fall, because it's, I mean, human psychology, I don't know much psychology, but I feel it's like, what's in it for me is the question comes for everybody. Then once, a tummy is full, yes, gratitude comes. When you tend to do that. When your house is only leaking, you can't find many enrollments there.
Correct.
So I mean,
that's it. What you said is actually very
fine. I mean, somebody who understands this whole process and sees one feeds the another. I'm talking from a layman perspective, right? Like somebody, because I have tried enrolling many people into things I do, and unless you make them see their problem, they won't resonate. It doesn't resonate with them.
Correct.
So it's very, I mean, they will do it because of your words, because of your friendship or whatever it is, but it's very for a short time, and then it will fall off. Like they will say, hey, my house is on fire, I need to go.
Correct. But this is actually, that is a very, as you rightly said, the layman, and this is kind of a conventional wisdom. Somehow we have to hack into like a kindness initiative. It's when what they feel is like, my house empty suddenly shifts into like, hey, my house is not empty, my house is full, because there are more emptier kind of stuff, right? But that one, we just have to hack into it. Only by doing this kind of, people says like, sometimes, we discussed in other satsangs, where when you are in a sense of poverty or scarcity, it's when you shift the gears to the outside and then you go help somebody, that's when you come back, says like, your pot is full, right? But that is not a conventional wisdom. Most people don't want to, first let me make my pot full, only then that I would actually go this. But that's a conventional wisdom.
So you need to address that first. You need to address that. That will never go away. If you don't address that, it will never go away. And their actions becomes okay. They will enroll because of few people, or she's doing, he's doing, whatever it is. Yeah,
I think we need to find a better hack. Right now, the hacks, like, when I look at the pure online as an example, right? The one hack is like, everybody in the school needs voluntary hour, credit certificates.
Yeah.
So we use that as a hack.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like something to trade off. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It doesn't matter. Like, anyway, Sama Beda Dana Dandopaya, right? So you give them a hack, right? The carrot. And then once you get the hack, and then you expose to that, then hopefully somebody feels fulfillment. And then that basically is like, you no longer need a hack. Then that becomes the tool that they would use, right? So the kindness was also kind of a hack. So we need to create more hacks to intercept people, to give them a taste or awareness. Some people may not ever get there.
So
yeah, some people might just do, okay, today I'm going to do Annadana or whatever it is I did for this year, I'm done. Okay, I think I am done for the day. For this year, I've grabbed, and they move on, because that feeling is enough for them. But if they feel, hey, I am, as Rajesh said, if I don't grow through this, there is no enrollment. So they constantly feel that there is a growth, the benefit of this, or like, I am doing yoga, I'm teaching yoga, but hey, it also benefits me when I do yoga. Right. And so, and when people say, hey, I need this posture, this helps me, can you help me with this? And then you go into a teacher mode. Okay, I know this, let me learn about it and then come back to you. So I think that that's where I come from. Like, that's where I see, like, I can't talk like youth. It's very, after a certain age, it's very difficult to train our mind to think as a youth. But I think you still have to speak to them in their language in some way.
So one thing that the reason I was asking is, will we be able to, sitting over here, support, the youth in India? And if that infrastructure is there, one of the things that I was trying to do last 3 years, which I did also, was teaching math. But then when I'm teaching like the 7th and 8th graders, I'm getting the high schoolers, the 11th and 12th graders as assistant students, because they want to show those volunteer hours. So I got little help in correcting and all that. This was pre-COVID. Post-COVID, I moved it online, so it wasn't much for them. But pre-COVID, they were involved because they had to correct the sheets and stuff like that. So there's a two-way fulfillment, right?
Correct.
So now just imagine a student in India who wants some kind of guidance. And when I was working with Accenture, I was working with another organization. So basically what they created is a platform that was all in the US itself, but a platform wherein the professionals like us are helping the rural side of the people, the underprivileged, get an understanding of or mentorship, basically a mentorship program. What is an understanding? How does the corporate world work? What are the non-academic skills you need to work on so that you get a good job and you're able to work with the team, stuff. So they've created a platform. Now, if you have a platform like that and have that two-way street wherein a high schooler from here is helping a youth in India, both of them are fulfilling their needs.
Correct.
Exactly,
Correct.
exactly. And that exactly has been done. I mean, that models have been implemented.
Yeah.
And look at the joy on both sides. I mean, this gentleman, because our kids here want to get onto the internet, they have these sensory things, they have whatever they want, but now they know, oh, there is somebody who's living on $2 per day or whatever that so-called, whatever, right? So they are so very, now they understand the value of life itself, first of all. And those kids out there, is the same thing. So yeah, definitely implemented. Please go ahead. Yeah.
And
sorry for interrupting.
No, that's it. No. Sorry, there is no. You have this is your program. That is one of the precise thing of when we are trying to do the youth entrepreneurship thing. We wanted to team up people in the entrepreneurship packs. The people from the youth and then two people from remote village. When they come together, when they're going from insights the workshop, the guy in India is like, how do I create a better toilet? Here, what people are looking for is like, what is the next best electric car that we want to build? Because that is the only unmet need that they see. Whereas the other guy sees like, how do I get a better toilet? Right? Where is the water? And then people's awareness of the problems that need to be solved suddenly magnifies. And if they were to prioritize which node is better, if somebody says, I need to build an electric car versus, building a toilet, that's how we create the oneness. And then allowing these people to be exposed to the problems on the other side and then this side, and then the beauty happens, right? That is one of the,
So right now that organization, the other organization we're talking about live, are they having virtual, they have a virtual platform already?
So they do have a virtual program. And then now we are actually creating a social media presence and with blogs and other stuff. So there is something that's working on. And the thing is, what they really do is they work on the train the trainer model. So because we always need to, it's a self-sustainable thing, right? When you go to school, you train it so that they people will do it. So there are certain things that we are. So basically the net here is like what Rajesh said and Ramakanji said. We will look at their program. One of the immediate concrete steps that I was trying to do is some of us who are interested, we will fully go through their program ourselves. We'll go through this 8 dimensions of growth ourselves. Then some of us could actually then go take our programs and then what petals need to be embellished. Like, for example, their yoga program, their chanting program, their whatever, whatever the 8 dimensions of growth, what can be embellished further, or if we need to add more petals that we could do. But then we will start. And the other important thing is when I looked at the program, this program is not just meant for the kids in India. I believe these 8 dimensions of growth can be helped for the kids that are being raised here. The things like public speaking is one of the skills. And I was actually able to witness the Shreyas College of Engineering. There were about 300 kids that got 300 or more that were in their first year of school. And many of them had a stage fear of speaking out in the public. And this program helped them actually going into like speak on the stage. And
so I need to go for another meeting, so I'll catch up with all of you.
So I think we all wrap up with this, but I think everybody. I think this program is so we are going to take it to the step, and I'm going to invite some of you. But I think thank you so much for the wonderful insights, and let's all do a final chanting, and then we'll wrap up the session. Om 3 times. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kasid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Up your eyes to see the things the way they are. Thank you so much. So great to be back at home, the today's home. So the today's home and
thanks a lot, Sriniji. Actually, 4th December 2021 will be marked in my life as a big day. Honestly, I mean, I'm overwhelmed with joy. I couldn't even express, but don't want to hold any more of you on the call. But this is the first time. I'm so happy. Rajeshji, simple word he said. Yeah, I'm signed on to, or whatever he said, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you, Srini. So just that his buy-in into this concept of Lead India, and you and Rajeshji doing this is a big day in my life personally. So I'm literally underlining this 4th December 2021, a huge, strong day for me. So thanks a lot.
Every day is a magic. You are running the show. You're running the show, right? And I know that. We'll talk again. So Savita Garu, we're going to leverage your time-saving techniques, and then we'll talk again. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.